The demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly is ongoing. The reasons for the demolition are yet to be revealed, but they may not be far from the recent crisis that rocked the House of Assembly. Yesterday, a High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, under the seal of Honorable Justice M.W. Danagogo, restrained Martin Amewule and Dumle Mahal from parading themselves and from interfering with the activities of Right Honorable Edison Ehie as Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly. The presiding judge, in an ex parte motion, warned against the use of thugs and police officers to forcefully gain access to the premises of the Rivers State House of Assembly complex. That's the situation in Rivers State. We'll take a short break now, but again, this is a crisis.
I mean, this is it. But you see, the playbook Mr. Fubara is playing for is not new. Well, remember how they removed this roof
in Benin
of a State House of Assembly. And the stolen mace. I think these rivers have even had issues with the mace. Remember how they used the mace to whip somebody in the body? This same river. So we all know this game, that the governor now is playing back, because with this, automatically, he will take his sweet time before this is rebuilt. And because we have also set precedent, you were talking about precedent this morning. Look at Edo State. Lawmakers have not been able to sit in a while. So the governor might go ahead by ensuring that the lawmakers don't sit, don't have anywhere to sit, and he continues to govern this way because the precedent is already up and running. So that's what's playing out. And this is another installment in the game. So probably this is Fubara's way of saying, come and impeach me if you want.
Well, he could say that. I mean, what some people have also touted is that the demolition is part of his renovation process. So what you're seeing on screen right now is a live footage of what's happening in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, where the State House of Assembly is being demolished. Now, it's still uncertain as to the exact reason why it's being demolished, but what might be the case is that the governor had said he was going to renovate the State House of Assembly, and perhaps in order to renovate, he has to pull it down to be able to build what was a section of the State House of Assembly that was burned. However, we will definitely get definite response from or comments from the State House government as to what really is the reason behind the demolition of the State House of Assembly. But like you mentioned, Rufai, with regards to now preventing the lawmakers from sitting, and perhaps this is the governor's response, again, this just demonstrates and sparks of impunity, lawlessness, and just the fact that if anyone decides, as the cases you've cited in other parts, where mace is stolen, a roof is lifted, in any sane democracy, it's very difficult to find stories like this. It almost sounds like something from a movie, where the democratic processes are interrupted because of individual disagreement or individual misalignment. Absolutely wrong. Now, I asked the question earlier on, at the end of the day, where do the Rivers people where do they stand in all this place? Where is their place in all of this that is going on in the state of Rivers? It's really quite interesting to observe the goings on, and I look forward to hearing a statement as to why this demolition is happening and why now.
Well, this is just another episode in the drama. The demolition of the Rivers State House of Assembly does not amount to a nullification of the establishment or the existence of the legislature in Rivers State. Because the State House of Assembly, the legislature, is a creation of law under the Nigerian Constitution, Section 4. So if they demolish this particular building, what they have demolished is the building. They will have to find another location where the State House of Assembly will sit. So that is important. The symbol of authority in this State House of Assembly is a mace. So the governor will have to explain to the people of Rivers State why he has had to demolish the building, and those reasons will have to be reasonable to a reasonable ordinary man on the streets of Rivers State. Otherwise, this will be interpreted as just mere politicking, as an attempt to waste state resources to settle political scores. It will come across as political opportunism. However, talking about realpolitik, I think, Sime Fubara, as governor of Rivers State, we have to learn very quickly on the job. I said earlier on that he cannot hold on to that seat by being Mr. Nice, by being good, by going about saying my oga, my oga. People like Yesom Wike, they don't understand all this my oga bootlicking behavior. They will crush you and nothing will happen. And I recommended to him the example of Abdullahi Ganduje when he became governor of Kano State. Dr. Ganduje was a very loyal man as deputy governor to Dr. Rabiu Kwankwanso. He was a very meek figure. Nobody will ever suspect anything. He waited till Kwankwanso anointed him and he became governor. When he became governor, he used power. One philosopher said the greatest form of power is political power. When Ganduje got political power, he wielded it like an axe. He even made it difficult for Kwankwanso to move around in the city of Kano. He had to shut him down. Even the Kwankwansiya government, he shut down the Kwankwansiya government. So Wike is going about saying he has political structures. He doesn't want anybody to tamper with his political structure. Where is the man in Fubara? He is holding political power. If he had played his game right, 27 people will not walk out on him. So this is realpolitik. So demolishing building, that looks like playing schoolball politics. He has to go and learn at the feet of the masters how to handle this kind of situation in a pragmatic manner.
What will he do, Dr. Abati?
What will he do? He will run Wike out of town.
How will you run him out of town? Let's learn at the feet of the master.
Consultation.
At the feet of the master.
No, I don't want to give him free consultancy.
Yes,
but Nigerian politics, that's why people say Nigerian politics is dirty.
Yes.
Somebody cannot want to crush you, and then you'll be saying, my master, my oga, my oga. If you cannot handle the fight, then get out. Just resign and move on. So going to demolish the building, who is going to pay for the reconstruction? The people of Rivers State.
Yes.
So they can't keep shortchanging the people of Rivers State just because some people have turned the politics in Rivers State into a game of Ludo.
Yeah. And again, going back to the burning of the complex, going back again to state funds, recall that an investigation ought to have been constituted as to who, because they said thugs invaded the house, the State House of Assembly complex, they burnt it down overnight, I think overnight 29th to the 30th of October. Until today, the 13th day of December, no one has been apprehended.
No. You see, the truth is, even the burning of the State House before now, it was political.
Exactly what.
So, and even this move is another political move. And pretty much what he's saying is, come and impeach me if you can. Because with this move, the place was burnt. If you burn a place, you do an integrity test on the building, and you can still carry on and fix the building. But a total demolition, was this as a result of the integrity test? It still remains to be seen. So this is a measure, just like I cited the case of Benin where the roof was pulled out. So this might be his own way of fighting back, because in all of this morning, like you were saying rightly, Ayo, I still saw where he said my oga and said congratulations to Wike. Yeah, that is good, but his tactics, his strategy, because we are talking political strategy, might be what I call the rat strategy. You'll be biting the person in the leg and be blowing air.
In Nigerian politics.
So, maybe he has something up his sleeve, because you can't know, you cannot see. But the only thing I'm definitely going to fault Fubara for, and I've been hearing, is that when there's a political struggle like this, you need alliances in friends and enemies, that he's not taking on those alliances to be able to speak and fight for him. But I mean, nobody, and that's why I say give it to Fubara. He might not have learned at the feet of the masters, like you said, Dr. Abati, but he's also learning. Nobody preempted that they were going to demolish the State House of Assembly as a reaction, and that they were going to get that ex parte in court as a reaction. So this might be his own way of fighting back. But maybe it's not good enough. Maybe it has caused a lot of collateral damage because in the destruction and all of that. But he too,
can be easily
he has put something in place. Yes, even if you vacate the ex parte order, another case is where are the lawmakers going to sit? And is it going to make it conducive for them to be able to sit and say? And we've seen people hold the lawmakers to ransom too much. But I get your point, Dr. Abati. that as a governor of a state, he showed a lot of docility, that 27 lawmakers were taken from you. That means you're not able to take the state out. So, but let's see how this pans out. Like I say, we are counting. I'm just here to count the scores. Yeah. The sad reality is that the Rivers people are the ones suffering in all of this.
Absolutely.
And by my score line, you can correct me if I'm wrong, this is just still 2-2.
I want to clarify something because Dr. Bati said something about, and I think that's going to be quite important, for the sitting of the lawmakers. So you talk about the mace being the symbol of authority. So is it possible for the members, the lawmakers, the 31 of them, because one is deceased and there has to be an election to replace him, is it possible for them to have an interim or temporary accommodation?
They can have a temporary, after all, the National Assembly members, they have a temporary location. Where
in River State?
No, in Abuja.
No, would you think they will be able to sit in River State?
Well, the governor is under obligation not to obliterate the legislature, which is a creation of the Constitution.
Yes, we know it's a creation of the Constitution, but we've seen many governors do this in the past. That's why I'm asking. With this happening, do you think practical Nigerian politics...
Concerned citizens will go to court
and
say you can't have a state without a legislature.
I'm sorry, Doctor, as Edo State had a legislature in a while sitting.
Well, I don't know whether they've been sitting.
So it has persisted. So these are the kind of political, and that's why I see, we need to be honest with ourselves with the politics we play. Yeah. Our politics is way below par.
Absolutely.
Because see, the truth is, what we are even coming on air to talk about is a glorification of a high stake of madness in our country. And this is a sorry state for our country we should all cry about. That two actors, can hold the oil-rich state of Rivers like this to ransom. And we are analyzing their shenanigans. It's an indictment on us as a nation. But we just need to analyze.
Well, in one stage, you forgot that some lawmakers once escaped to Abuja.
Yes.
To go and sit in Abuja.
Which is sad.
The reason I ask that is that part of the judgment of Justice Danagogo was that Mr. Martin Amafuele should not attempt to go into the State House of Assembly complex until it is rebuilt, until it is, So those are some of the questions.
Yeah, because the governor will not give them a forum where they can sit. Yeah. Right. So that's why the people they are just changing. But I'm sure there are enough men of reason, men and women of reason in Rivers State who should begin to speak up.
Absolutely.
To say this is unacceptable in the Garden City.
Well,
they are turning the Garden City into a refuse dump.
Well, we have Andy Omano, our rights correspondent, on ground in River State, and he's bringing us reports as to what is going on with the demolition, as we've seen, on our screens a few seconds ago. Good morning, Andy, and thank you so much for joining us. Can you give us an update on what's going on with regards to the demolition of the River State House of Assembly complex?
Okay, good morning, Ayo. Good morning to everyone on set there. Yes, actually, the River State House of Assembly built with taxpayers' money, very humongous amount of money is being pulled down this morning. As I speak with you, I am in the NS Ikoli Press Center on Moscow Road, Port Harcourt, adjacent to the House of Assembly complex. We would have ordinarily taken this live near where the action is, but will be threatened this morning that if we do that, we would never go with our lives from that system. And so we needed to quickly get out of that to this safer place so that we can live with our lives at the end of this life. And so, of this life connection. And so, yes, the assembly complex is being demolished. If you watch behind me, if not for the gate of the NSC Koli Press Center, you would have seen the assembly complex. But as I speak with you, bulldozers are pulling down, I should say, this edifice. And people are beginning to ask questions. What is going on here? What is going on? What is Rivers turning into? Ayo, the assembly complex, the entire complex, not the Hallow chambers that was burned. The entire complex is being pulled down by not less than 5 different bulldozers. Okay. Over to you, Ayo.
Okay. Has the state government given any explanation for this demolition? And what form is the demolition taking? Is it along with all the facilities within the premises, including furniture, air conditioning, vehicles, complete total demolition, the kind of thing we see in the movies. Is that what is happening, or the place was first emptied out and it's just the structure that is being demolished? What is the exact form of that demolition? And has there been any explanation by the state government?
Yes, Dr. Abathi, before now, the state government had said it intends to renovate the assembly complex, but no one had thought that the renovation is going to come in this form. To answer your question directly, the entire complex, not even a pin from what we are seeing this morning, was picked from this complex. Everything in the entire complex is going down in this demolition exercise.
Including
and apart
files,
from
documents.
2-3 days ago, where I must tell you, everything, Dr. Abati, is going down. Is going down and is heart-rendering. It is, I don't know. I'm looking for the right choice of word to use, because like I said earlier on, this is a complex that was put up with very, very high sum of, I mean, a large sum of the people's sweat, the people's money, because this is the taxpayers' money. These are money generated by the state government and taken from the state coffers to be able to put on this befitting edifice in order to effectively represent the garden city of Rivers State.
Mr. Omano,
everything is going down, Dr. Abati.
Mr. Omano, the 27 lawmakers that have been sitting prior to this time, where were they sitting? Is it in this complex that they were sitting?
Yes, some. Rufai, yes. To answer your question directly, they've sat twice since October 30th that the Hallow chambers was burned down. They've sat twice, and they'll be sitting in this assembly complex. But many people had asked that, look, how come that these 27 lawmakers have had unimpeded access to this assembly complex, where before the court injunction, the governor, the executive had given instruction that nobody should go there to sit. But twice they sat, and twice they had unimpeded access, assisted with full complement of security men. So they sat here.
I want to also ask, was the ex parte yesterday a prelude to this? Was the ex parte yesterday sort of like to test the water? Because pretty much what the ex parte was saying was they can't come in here to see it until we renovate and all of that. Was that like some sort of a bona fide to be able to do this? Because the ex parte came out yesterday. The lawmakers decamped probably a day before. The ex parte came out yesterday. The building went down today. Can we, synergize those three actions?
Yes, let me try as much as possible to synergize. Before the ex parte of yesterday, a high court somewhere in a particular part of Rivers State had said, look, none of the two factions should get into that facility to conduct their proceeding, or whether proceeding or plenaries. But in spite of that, the other faction, that is the Martins Ameule faction, have had access to this facility twice. And yesterday, yes, I think there is a nexus, because yesterday they sat moving all 27 of themselves to the All Progressives Congress. And today, the demolition is coming. There is usually another that, look, if a baby dies today and the young lady who was brought to take care of the baby says he is leaving the next day, there may just be a connection. And so I think there is a nexus, but the next couple of days will be able to tell us what actually transpired. But what we have on our hands right now is the edifice, the House of Assembly complex of the Rivers State government that was built with taxpayers. I want to believe this was put up during the orderliest time, has come down. Bulldozers are here, and they are pulling it down. Not a pin has been taken from the complex. Rufai.
All right, Andy, thanks. I would like to ask you, is there any news as to where the mace is?
Okay, before now, we've not heard anything about the mace lately. But as at October the 30th, when this bizarre, political bizarre, I want to describe it, started, we were told that the mace is in the custody of the other faction of the party. I mean, to the crisis, that is Edison Ehie's faction, that the mace is in their custody. But between then and now, we've not heard anything about the mace. And I can tell you on good authority that the 27 lawmakers who have been sitting, because even when we are not allowed access to their sitting, we are privileged to get information and see what transpired. They hadn't sat with that particular mace. So like I said in one of my outings yesterday, as a student of government, I had thought that the mace is the authority of the legislature. And if the legislature, whether a faction or the entire legislature, is sitting without the mace, whatever decision they take, could that be binding on anybody? To answer your question directly again, the mace is in the custody of, allegedly, rather I should say, in the custody of the Edison Ehie faction. And these other factions have been sitting without it.
Well, you are right. I mean, the mace is a symbol of authority, as you said, as a student of government. But you recall that once in Oyo State, a faction of the House of Assembly sat in a hotel room to impeach Governor Ladoja when the matter went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court declared that, assembly illegal. I hope nobody will be tempted in Rivers State to go and sit in a hotel room with or without the mace. But let me ask you, what has been the reaction of the people of Rivers State? What is the reaction on the streets of Port Harcourt? Have you been able to gauge that?
Yes, Dr. Abathi, the reaction here is not complimentary. The reaction here is condemnable. Everyone who's spoken with had said, look, how did we get here? That's the question on everybody's lips. That, look, how come that the legislature, the people who, the legislators were elected by the people, how come that they are getting to this point and the people, there is no connection between them and the people? Because some are saying, look, they have not reverted to say, oh, this is what we intend to do. And so it's been condemnation everywhere, because the picture is, as this political crisis brews, everything about Rivers developers seems to be at a standstill. The executive isn't seeing eye to eye with the legislation, let alone the judiciary. And so, when situations are like this, you really cannot make any progress, let alone an appreciable progress, when in an atmosphere of crisis. There is tension, there is palpable fear, Dr. Abati, and the Rivers people are on the edge. They are not comfortable with what is going on. They are beginning to ask very salient questions. How come that these legislators that they elected get to this point without recourse to them who are supposed to have been those who elected them?
Omano, please, in terms of the people's reaction, can you help us break it further down? What are they saying about the role of former Governor Nyesom Wike in this matter? Because that's what full conversation is likely to be about. Wike, Fubara, and all the other stakeholders.
Yes, absolutely. It's been total condemnation. I must use that word again. That how come, even if the political fracas is between the father and the son, the father should have used his shock absorbers to be able to soak whatever pressure that comes out of this, so that he can sort this out with his son amicably, knowing that when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. In this case now, I don't see, Dr. Abati, the case of two elephants, because it's not news that it was the immediate past governor and current FCT minister that installed this governor. But what the people are saying is, yes, we agreed, you brought him for him to be the governor of the state, but we elected him. And so he does have our mandate. And as long as he does have a mandate, you must allow him, if I'm allowed again to use that expression, to breathe. And so it's been condemnation, and they are not saying anything positive. If you talk to 10 people, 7 to 8 of them are condemning the immediate past governor, that he should have played a more fatherly role to making sure that this situation did not get to where it is now. Because in the next couple of days, we don't know what is going to happen in this city referred to as a garden city. Could really this still be referred to as a garden city, or it should be referred to as a refuge city, like you rightly mentioned at the beginning of this conversation? Dr. Abati.
I'd like to ask you, what's the state of the River State budget? It's budget season in a couple of states now. They're talking about budget. Is it because of this shenanigan going on, the Rivers people can't get a budget that will work for them? What's that conversation like?
Thank you so much, Rufai. Just 2 days ago, Monday to be precise, was when the State Executive Council sat to pass that particular budget. And having passed the budget, that is the executive arm of government, the expectation now is for the budget to be passed on to the legislature. But as we speak today, the House is in tatters. There are 2 factions. The question many are asking is, if this budget is to be passed, who is going to pass it? Is it the Martins Amehule faction to the political crisis, or Edison Ehie's faction? And so there is a budget, but the budget needed to be passed, having been given Philip by the executive. That is where we are right now. There is a budget, but it has not been passed in order for implementation to take place before we see this House of Assembly complex be pulled down today. And to link it to something else, I think they were supposed, not think, ordinarily they were supposed to pass this budget in this edifice behind me, be pulled down by bulldozers. So I wonder where that budget is going to be passed, like Dr. Abati alluded. Is it going to be a hotel, a replication of what happened in Ibadan some times ago?
Okay.
These are questions that are begging for answer.
I also want to further ask you this. The other faction that you claim has got the mace, have they ever sat, 4 people, they can't obviously reach a quorum, so have they ever even converged or said anything in all of this time? Because in all of this, the people are suffering. Budget can be passed. Nothing can be done. The state is in limbo. God knows when they will rebuild this the State House of Assembly in Rivers. What happens?
Yes, what we've heard about the Edison Ehie faction to this crisis is that they sat on the 30th of October. That was when part of the Hallow chamber was burnt. But after sitting, their sitting was not even within the precinct of the assembly complex. It was inside Government House. I can give that authoritatively. But between then and now, they haven't sat. It is the Martins Amehule faction that have sat twice. And twice they've sat, twice they did inside the assembly complex, that the Hallow chambers of the assembly complex that is being pulled down today. But of course, Rufai, they did that with full complement of the Nigerian police. And so the question you ask yourself is, who ordered the complement to these 27 lawmakers who sat in the assembly complex? We've yet to find an answer to that question as we speak.
All right, let me take you back earlier, Andy. You said at the beginning of your report that there's some people who threatened you, that you shouldn't, stand close to where the demolition is happening, else there were even perhaps threats to your life. Who are these people threatening you? Can you identify the people on ground who are either supervising the demolition or carrying out the demolition, and authoritatively on whose orders?
Yes, Ayo, we have an array of men of the Nigerian police here. And it was 2, 3 of them who came pouncing on us like priests. In fact, one threatened to shoot at us. And I quietly asked my cameraman that we should leave the scene as quickly as possible so that we don't become the story. We are here to tell the story. We don't want to become the story. And that is why we are taking this live from the NS Ikoli complex, press complex, directly opposite the assembly complex here on Moscow Road, Port Harcourt.
Well, Omano, What are the elders, the leaders of River State, what are they saying in this matter? Former governors particularly. For example, Amayanabo of Tombras, His Royal Highness Alfred Dete Spieth, Dr. Peter Odili, Rotimi Amechi, former governor, former minister. Or is everybody just keeping quiet and just allowing this drama to continue at the expense of the people of River State? Has anybody spoken up? Where are the leaders in Rivers?
Well, Dr. Abati, it does seem... Yes, I like that question, Dr. Abati. But for me, who is on ground here, except my eyes are open, but I really cannot see with them. But I want to believe this morning that I still see with my eyes. We've not seen anything, any glaring intervention of these elders that you mentioned, except on the 30th of October. I kept referring to this date because that was when we were inside government house, a group of elders led by Sergeant Awuse, His Royal Majesty, OCG Okosha, and the rest of them drove into the the government house complex and had a brief with the governor before leaving that same day for Abuja to meet with the FCT ministers. Between then and now, we've not seen anything. I think what I want to report is the fact that the situation for them, they really don't want to align with either of the parties, or they are doing that subterraneously, Dr. Abati. They are doing that, but I think this is not the time to operate in that format, because these Rivers people need men of goodwill. Rivers people need elders who can say, young men, can you stop this? Calm down. Okay. We don't need to put this state on fire. We need to quickly make sure there is peace in this state, because River State is a very strategic state in the south-south region. Okay. It is an oil-bearing state. It is the nerve center of this south-south region. And so if this continues, we don't know what is going to happen. Directly, the elders have not intervened evidently. But I think the time for them to do so is now, because they cannot go with a badge of elders, and when the roof is on fire, the elders are just not only sleeping, but they are slumbering.
Mr. Omano, I don't know if you've gotten the information, but as we're speaking, there are pictures circulating, which, I must repeat, we've not been able to independently verify and authenticate, that shows the governor in a room with the mace and the leader of the other faction, and it is claimed that a session is going on as we're speaking. They're calling it the 90th sitting. Do you have any intel about that? Because we've not been able to independently verify. So what's going on in the States?
Well, each time you see the executive speak, they will tell you that everything is in place. We want to believe to a certain extent that everything is in place. But if everything is in place, should we be having this bizarre political situation that is sliding to what I would want to describe as near anarchy? Near anarchy, because we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, Rufai. And the Rivers people, especially those who are resident in Port Harcourt, are not comfortable with the situation at all. Yesterday, we had to do live on Newsnight, and we were driving very consciously, because these days what you discover is that people are beginning to retire to their houses earlier than necessary. It's as a result of what is going on, because everybody wants to be alive, and nobody wants to walk with his or her two sure legs to death. Rufai.
Absolutely. Well, please keep safe out there. And Omano, thank you so much for bringing us reports live from Port Harcourt in River State, where the demolition of the River State House of Assembly complex is currently ongoing.